go.
Hey, we are here. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Acting like we've just seen each other. We've been talking for about 15 minutes. So, but yeah, no. How is life in lockdown?
Life in lockdown is up and down. Not gonna lie. It's really funny. I was actually having this conversation with my parents today. I always check in with them probably about 2 or 3 days, every 2 or 3 days, find out how they're doing, but also for them to know that I'm all right, everything's okay, and stuff. It's a harder month for me and my fiance. We were supposed to get married this month, so
Ooh.
I think it's just hitting a little bit harder.
Yeah.
However, yesterday was a day where you just go, I wasn't motivated. I had no motivation. Today was a motivated day, and I think it's because I kind of thought it was because of being uncertain. At first, I thought, oh God, it's very uncertain. I'm a photographer, a director. I don't know when work's coming in. And actually, I've realized now it's more complacency. I don't like the fact that it's the same routine every single day. You know.
No, absolutely, 100%. It's what you know. It's the reason. The reason is like I find that it's just getting up in the morning to do the same old thing again. So I find it like I'm doing a video every day, and I find doing just a song every day gives you a reason to sort of like get up, get ready, get motivated, and yeah. Plus, I have kids, so obviously that gets me up as well. But keeping the day sort of all mixed up and trying to vary it is very difficult. But if you can vary it, you know.
Geez, I think that's also a thing for creatives as well. Like, I think it's a little bit different. If you're a 9 to 5 person, you're used to having structure. You kind of like that. But if you're a self-employed creative, it messes with your head that all you're going to do is get up in the morning and do the same routine. Like, absolutely, I'm not a 9 to 5, never have been.
No, not mine.
I wasn't like it at school. You know, it was interesting because that was a long time ago.
The thing I find strange is as a performer, like I've had to adjust. So like as a performer, like doing something in front of a camera is completely different to doing something in front of a live audience. Put me on a stage and I don't mumble my words. I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. Put me in front of a camera. I don't know where I'm at. It's
well,
crazy.
That's because you haven't got that personal interaction, and we can feel each other's energy when we're in the room.
Yeah.
What's really hard on what I do love about this actually is I can see your face. I think it's really interesting. Someone said to me about, you should do a podcast because I've been doing these live Q&As on Instagram, which you can go and see lots of. I've done Broadway photographers.
Plug away. Tell them.
Oh, okay. I just did a live Q&A. Literally, just did one with one of Britain's Got Talent's Golden Buzzer winner, John Courtney. He played the piano. He was a comedian.
Yeah,
so just did that with him. And I've done one with Matt Murphy, who is a Broadway photographer. You would have seen his work, Hamilton. Like all the shots of Hamilton, that's his.
Wow.
Moulin Rouge out there and everything. He's incredible. And then I've also done one with a West End wig designer as well, Richard Dyke, maybe. So I've been very, very lucky to do all these Q&As. I've got some exciting ones coming up. I've got one with actually someone from Broadway who was in Liza at the Palace, but also runs, I don't know if you ever heard of Cast Party. His name is Jim Caruso.
Yes, I've heard of it. I don't know much about it, but
so Cast Party is basically on a Monday night. Did you know Broadway is dark on a Monday?
Yeah.
On a Monday. So on Monday night, a lot of Broadway stars go to Cast Party, and it's almost like an open mic. But it's probably,
yes, they upload, don't they?
Yeah, it's probably the most. I would say it's probably the most talented open mic night anyone's ever seen. If you get people like Cynthia Erivo have sung there and stuff like that. I've been very, very lucky to sing twice there with my because I'm friends with Jim. Only because I'm friends with Jim. No one knows who I am, and so I've been very lucky to go around the world really and meet people.
That's amazing. So, I mean, give people a bit of background on you, because obviously we'll be talking. We know each other now. What is it? What is it you do? What's your history? What's your background?
So my history started off that I started performing when I was 6 years old, and fell in love with musical theatre when I was 10, when I did Sound of Music, and played Kurt, because at that time I was very much a ballet bod. I was very much a ballet boy, and I went to the Royal Ballet Summer School when I was 10, and I thought that was the career. I thought ballet is where I'm going. And at age 10, I did Kurt in The Sound of Music. It was the first time that I played a role like that, where I had to learn, I had to sing, I had to dance, I had to act. I fell in love. I was like, you mean I can do all three? This is amazing. And so from that moment on, musical theatre became my life. I remember when CDs came out.
I try and explain this to my son all the time. They never understand.
They're like, what's a CD? I remember when CDs came out, and everyone was probably buying things like Jason Donovan, you know, hit records and Kylie and all that lot, and or Backstreet Boys or whatever was around. My first album I ever bought was the original cast recording of Crazy for You with Ruthie Henschel. I mean, that says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's better than what my first album was, which was S Club 7. So I'm not going to go there.
Was it Don't Stop, Never Give Up? So
I was really cool.
My green juice, because it's time.
I've got water.
I'll tell you what, this is amazing. Lockdown, I'm calling it my lockdown juice, because it is definitely helping me lose the belly fat.
See, that's what I need to do now. I'll put it on.
You know, I'll send you the recipe. It's amazing. But yeah, so I then went on to, I actually did a summer school at Lane Theatre Arts when I was 14, and we did like an Annie Get Your Gun kind of show, and my leading lady was Sheridan Smith.
Oh wow! So funny story about Sheridan Smith. I've met Sheridan a couple of times. She won't remember who I am, but we were doing a scavenger hunt in London, and at the time she was doing Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
And she was amazing. So she was then coming out for lunch, and the scavenger hunt was with these two guys who were in the army, and they were doing something else, like a barracks day or something. They had to all do this scavenger hunt, and one of their things was to get a picture on a West End stage, and Sheridan let them in, let us in. We got to play with like the Plant, the Audrey 2, and it was amazing. She was lovely.
Amazing. She was brilliant in that role.
She was really good.
But yeah, so she was my very first. We were both 14 at the time, and she yeah, it was incredible. And she was so intuitive, even then as an actress, which I remember very much. I thought, yeah, this girl's got something, definitely. And at that point, I was such a geek of musical theatre. I thought I knew everything. I really did. And even when I then auditioned for Lanes when I was 16, and I didn't get in. I didn't get into Lanes when I was 16. They told me I wasn't physically developed enough or mentally developed enough. And they were right. I was a twig. And I was young, because I came from a very a small village, a village of probably 250 people in this village. You know, it was a small town mentality that we had. So I was a big fish
in a small pond.
In a small pond. You get to Lanes and you become a small fish in a big pond.
It's one of those things I find. It's one of those things I find with amateur theatre productions as well. When you get into those, you always have the person who always gets that starring role, and then they leave and you realise they come back and they go, it's not like here. There's a massive shock to the system.
It's not. I was very lucky in my Amdram world, because I did get to play quite a lot of leads. I was very lucky and stuff like that. However, the director that I had at the time, he basically, I didn't get cast in the lead for a show that I definitely was like, why did I not get the lead? Because at that point I was that cocky 15-year-old of like, why didn't I get the lead? And he was like, because you need to be ensemble. You need to learn what it is to be ensemble. I thank him to the day that he did that, because playing the lead all the time, especially now with star casting and stuff like that. It's so important to learn how to be an ensemble. So if you are in Amdram and everything, use that time to learn what it is to be an ensemble. An ensemble is, and we'll get onto this with the directing that I now do, an ensemble for me creates the world in which your principals live. Without them, your principals cannot exist.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I think that's the way to kind of think about it.
It also bogs out the songs as well. That chorus, that massive people singing is just, you can't beat it.
Learn harmonies and all of that. Like, it's so valuable, especially if you want to go into this professionally. Like, you really have to know how to sing harmonies, how to work together, how to work as a team. So then at 18, I'll go back, I went to Lanes, and I was halfway through, I think, yeah, I was halfway through the first year in Lanes, and then this very, very assured guy came into our year, and you've actually done an interview with him, and he came into the year. He had been in Butlins, and Miss Lane had seen him in The Mask and everything, and he came in, and I was like, who is this person? And I'll tell you what, he came in all guns blazing and wanted to learn. And this is Michael Quinn.
Well, we just had a message from Michael there. Look.
Oh, what did he say? Ah, there he is. Look. Michael Quinn Productions.
Plugging the Michael Quinn Productions there.
Absolutely. He has now become my agent. He is now my agent as a director. So this is how it's all gone full circle. But what I want to tell you a little bit about him at college. Michael came as an incredible singer, and he had, I would say, he had 3 go-to songs that he used to love to sing. Gethsemane was one of them, for Jesus Christ Superstar. He saw himself as a rock. He was a rock, like, tenor, and he had this incredible voice. And in the first year, that's all he thought he was going to do. From the second year, he took everything on board. He went to his ballet class. He worked hard on his dancing, and he learned that he had to be a triple threat. And he inspired me a lot, because I saw somebody come in. I was a triple threat. I was someone who was a singer, dancer, and actor. He came in as a singer. He then had to learn how to dance. He could act, but it wasn't quite there. But he just built it and built it and built it. And by the time we got to the third year, Michael was unstoppable. And he had really got himself up to an incredible level. And then he went on to have an incredible career. He really did. And he deserves it. He really does. So yeah, very proud of him, and very proud to have him now as my agent as well. So, which came about this year, because I worked with him as a photographer as well for things, and he knew that I wanted to be a director, and he wanted to help me get to where I want to be. So,
but
yeah.
You're directing a couple of things. Well, at the moment, I say at the moment, everything's on lockdown at the moment, but there's a couple of shows you're doing at the moment.
Yes, I was. I was doing a London premiere of It Should Have Been You with an Amdram company, a fantastic Amdram company called Ross Theatre Company, and we were literally going to open the week after we went into lockdown. We were ready. We had our mock dress rehearsal in the hall. We were all ready to go. The wigs were ready to go. The costumes were set. We were done. We were ready to get into the theatre, and I was gutted. I'm not going to lie. I was gutted. These people they'd worked so hard. This is a farce. This is a musical theatre farce. It is so quick, so fast, but it's got an amazing, some amazing, very current issues going on about acceptance. It's got a bit of an LGBT feel to it as well. But then the other side, I was doing Shrek with Wow Youth Theatre down in Weymouth. At the same time, I was actually doing 2 shows at exactly the same time. They were due to open 2 weeks.
Moonlighting between shows.
Oh, it was crazy. And I was actually directing and choreographing that show. So I actually directed and choreographed the whole of Shrek. And we were set, we were ready to run in March and go there. There are some incredible young actors out there, and WoW have some incredible young actors. There's Harry Lake, who was playing Lord Farquhar. I've never seen such intelligence of comedy ever from a
That's a
17.
great role as well.
Oh, but this kid, I mean, he's 17. He's not an adult yet. He's 17, but he had the intelligence that could easily be going on to be a cover, like, you know. And again, he was a triple threat. He knew how to sing, he knew how to dance, he knew how to act. Even though he was on his knees, he knew how to like move his body and get it to where it is. My Fiona, she found a completely different Fiona than anyone's ever seen as well. There was just some incredible, but we really went into the depth of what the characters are about. I think with Shrek, it's very easy to play it on the surface. I think we were talking about that before, and
Duality of the character.
yeah, you were saying about the movie and the musical and how it's different. Do you want to just elaborate on that?
The movie was set out to be a send-up of Disney films, so it wasn't meant to be heart. Well, it was meant to have some heartfelt moments, but they were meant to be sort of squashed flat. You had like the irreverent music, you had like Smash Mouth playing at the start, and it was very musical. And then the musical comes out, and it extends the themes of the film. So rather than just seeing Shrek as this horrible ogre, you see what his childhood was like. The whole opening of the show is his childhood, and it's some great songs in it as well. And it completely opens up the story. And I think it actually does a better job than the film does.
I totally agree. You definitely get to know who Shrek is, and the guy who's played Shrek, Alex. He, again, 17 years old. How are they that intelligent at 17 years old? Where have they got to go to? I definitely wasn't there at 17 years old to have that kind of intelligence. But his thought process through the songs, he's looked at the lyrics, he's looked at what they mean. It isn't just about, musical theatre isn't just about singing out front and that's it. It's about connecting to the song. It's about telling a story. And the one thing that Alex Rogan does so well is tell a story. I mean, there's a song called Who I'd Be, which is one of my favorite songs in the show. It would just have people falling apart. Because you have to feel something for Shrek, because he loses everything. You know, sorry, my phone just fell off.
You lost grip of that as you said. He loses something, which is I find
yeah. So no, I love it down there, and they're so hardworking. The talent, the dancing, an incredible dance captain who has taken all the ensemble and cleaned it to the point where you would watch it and be like, they've been rehearsing for weeks. No, he probably cleaned it in 2 weeks, and they were clean. And that's Harrison, and he's going off to Doreen Bird. Harry's going off to Guildford. Alex is taking a year out because he's going to go to a drama school next year, and he wants to have that one-to-one. You know, it's just incredible, and I wish them all the best. I really do, because I'm gutted that I've lost them as characters, because I've lost quite a lot of my characters, and we'll have to recast. But I'm sure we'll recast, and there's some great talent in there. They're going to get a chance now to have a go. You're
talking about like musical theatre. It's not just about singing; it's about playing the character and acting the character as well. And we were having this discussion before about you call it Judi Denching it, or I said Rex Harrison. It's these people who make careers in musical theatre that actually don't sing that well, but their emotional input into a song raises the song to a different level. And you're doing classes at the moment, aren't you, during lockdown?
I am. If you actually go onto my pndheadshots.net website, there's
I'll add it to the
awesome
comments.
There's a link in there that you can see. I'm doing an acting through song Zoom sessions, and actually the first one is free. So to come and kind of do a tester, see if we work together, if it works and everything. And the way the process works is you pick a musical theatre song, has to be a musical theatre song. It can be from a cycle, so it can be from Edges, it could be from Songs for a New World, whatever you like. you must send me the lyrics the night before so I can do my research as well, and I can look through the lyrics and have a few ideas. And then when we're on there, you'll sing your song all the way through. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tear the song apart, lyric by lyric, and find out what the meaning of this song is. I think it's so important to have a purpose to the song, to have a reason. And also, one thing I found yesterday with the girl I was working with was there was no mention of the name that this person was singing to. And so I said, give him a name. You're singing to a man, but what's his name? Because that means something. When you give someone an identity, when you give that person that you're singing to an identity, it really does help. It also helps with nerves as well. I think people don't realize is the more you're out of your head, the more that you can just sing it.
The reason I got into performance in the first place was I was nervous on stage, and playing a different character helps with that.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Because if you mess up, it's not your fault, it's the character.
And there's lots of ways of working. There's lots of different methods of working. There's sense memory that people use. Personally, that's not my technique, and it's not something I think for musical theatre works. And that's when someone says, oh, think about your dead dog, or that makes you sad. What you do is, yes, you can reference that to your emotion, but what you're doing is you're tapping into the emotional part. It's like having little filing cabinets in the back and going, okay, anger, let me find anger. Anger's in there. I've been angry at some point. I'd be jealous at some point. Yeah, I'm going to pick that one out, you know. But to be thinking about something else while singing a musical theatre song is so detrimental and selfish as well to the other person on stage who's with you, or even to the audience, because you're not present, you're not in the moment.
You need to be within the character to portray you need to be in the moment. Yeah,
absolutely. And there are times where someone brings me a song, and in the musical, the song's sung by a 40-year-old. However, this person's 25, and you know, it doesn't fit. So you need to make it fit, because it's a standalone song. It can still work if you can make it work, but you need to make it your own. You always have to make it your own. Stop copying what other people are doing, because that's their interpretation. Waving through a window.
Dear Evan Hansen.
I love Dear Evan Hansen.
It's an amazing show.
Love it. But the amount of versions I've seen of covers is never about them. It's them trying to be Ben Platt.
Yeah.
And that's Ben Platt's.
He's got a very unique vibrato and a very unique style to his voice. So
he has, absolutely. But the people try to emulate that, and then I don't believe what they're singing. I don't believe you, because all you're doing is copying what is being done. You know, and that's not musical theatre. That's just karaoke. Sorry.
There's a reason that when people take on different parts within the show, like you can go and see, I don't know, you can go and see Dear Evan Hansen, you see Ben Platt play it, but if you go on YouTube and look at the other people playing it, they all have their different takes and their different spins on his idiosyncrasies, his mannerisms, and it's completely different to what Ben Platt did, and it works, still works.
I think so. The people to study about acting through song, if I can give any, is Stephanie J. Block, who, as people might not know, she was the original Elphaba in the workshops for Wicked. But if you watch her acting through song, watch Jeremy Jordan in Santa Fe in Newsies, and watch him in a concert singing Santa Fe, and then watch him in the show. They are completely different, because they're in the moment and they're present. Nobody can recreate the same performance every single night. I'm sure if you go and see Ben Platt in Dear Evan Hansen, or when he was on, you wouldn't see the same performance. I saw Glenn Close at Sunset Boulevard on the first night, the very first night at the E&O, and it's so funny because she messed up, which for me was brilliant, because it just proves, doesn't matter who you are, live theatre, you're still going to mess up. It still happens. It's okay. It's how you get out of it, kind of thing. But it was so interesting to see. I saw her on the first night and I saw her on the second night as well. And it wasn't because I was an average fan. It was because two people bought me tickets for a present. And they didn't realise. Oh, lovely presents, don't get me wrong. But what I noticed was on the first night, it was very much on the surface, and she was nervous. It's a massive role.
First night, cheers.
She was coming back to a role that she did, what, 15 years ago? If you look it up, something like 15 years ago on Broadway, Norma Desmond. And then she then comes back to this role and has to revisit it in a completely different way. So on the first night, there's nerves, there's expectations that she's put on herself from the audience, and you could see that a little bit. On the second night, oh no, she did not give a crap. She was so in it, so raw, so naturalistic, and you could see people like Michael Xavier so excited to work and were bouncing off each other, and it was so different. Now, the reason why I could tell that is because I have a photographic memory, and I can actually, like, it's really bad sometimes because I really do remember, like, visually, I can remember everything that goes on. I'm dyslexic. I can't read very well. I have only ever read 2 books in my whole life, ever, and they were Harry Potter, and that's because they were visual, you know. So, but visually, I can remember everything. I honestly can remember. I can go and see a show and I can tell you what that chorus boy was wearing. You know, it's that kind of detail.
I remember, so talking about different ways of playing a character, I was lucky enough to go and see, do you remember Acorn Antiques, the musical, Victoria Wood?
Ah, one of my faves. Can't wait to direct it. That is the dream.
It's overall right here. Let's drag it up. No, I was lucky enough to see obviously Julie Walters play Mrs. Overall in it, but I also saw Victoria Wood play it, and I also saw the understudy play it.
Wow!
And so I saw every single one of the characters.
Was the understudy Myra? Was it Myra?
I'd have to actually see the program I got downstairs, possibly.
I believe it's Myra, and if it's Myra, she was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as a Gran.
Oh, well. Really? Okay. No,
and I think she's something like 75, something like that. I think she was doing the splits. Charlie and the Chocolate. This woman is incredible.
Well, it was this weird thing I saw. I saw Victoria Wood play it, and that was the first night. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see Julie Walters play this part again. I saw Victoria Wood play, and obviously Victoria Wood wrote the character, wrote the play, and it was still amazing. And then, but when I saw Julie Walters play that character, it was like she was so in control of it, and there was like people saying things during the song from the audience. You know, you get the heckles every now and then, and she just dealt with it. Boom! But she was so good at the timing. She knew the character inside out enough to respond as that character to those people.
But that's because she wasn't in her head.
Yeah, it was so good.
She just got in and she went and she was like focused, and you know.
It's also she's not a singer, but she was singing this song. It's like a 5-minute long song about tea cakes. It's ridiculous.
Oh, add some tea on the train.
Yeah,
love it.
That way you see the cheap suits. That's what, you know, she was so good, and it was just one of those moments you go, you see how she's gotten to where she is now, and why she's just like a British institution. Like it's the difference.
Have you ever watched her first stuff though? Have you ever watched Talent and when she started out? And it's so interesting to watch her as an actress in the 80s. And do you know what? Julie Walters, I don't know if anyone can remember what the series was. She was kind of one of the first people to do what were called kitchen sink dramas.
Right.
They used to be done on the radio, and then she did one, and it was about domestic violence. This is in the 80s. And it's hard hitting to watch, but you wouldn't think Julie Walters hard hitting, but that's what she is good at.
Yeah, like, she's very good at drama.
I mean, Short Stay at Switzerland, not a comedy at all. The Momolan thing that she did, and I think that's something as well. Is if you're a comedian, if you're someone who is very comical, you're usually very good at tragedy because you can find the humor within the tragedy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, Robin Williams was very good at transitioning from comedy to tragedies. You know,
Oh yeah, 1 hour photo.
That's exactly what I was saying. 25. It's an amazing film. Yeah, it's just it's incredible. But yeah, he done some great stuff. He done was it The Worst Day? I can't remember. Worst Day is one of his later ones. He just plays this man going for a complete breakdown. Like,
he did the cutting room, didn't he? He did the cutting room. That's really weird.
Some very strange things.
It's a very strange thing. But I do think that if you're a character actor as well, it's like, especially younger character actors, I just want to encourage them to keep going. Like, we need you. We need character actors as much as we need lovely ingenue, beautiful singers. We need our Maggie Smiths. We need our Ian McKellens.
I much prefer character acting, though, don't you? I much prefer.
Well, you remember them. Tell me a character. Tell me an actor from the 60s that you remember. You will never remember a beautiful, stunning person. Probably Joanna Lumley's the only one. But even then, she's a character actress. Because of fabulous. You know, that's the thing. She's a comedian, but she did all the other stuff. But what's really interesting is we remember Ian McKellen. We remember Patricia Routledge from Keeping Up Appearances. You know, all of these incredible character actors. And I think the reason why I identify with it is because, look, I've got big ears and a big nose and I've got those features. And someone always said, when you're older, that's when I'll work. And so, you know, maybe, who knows, maybe in my 50s, I'll go back into the industry. Michael, are you ready for that?
See, I always find it difficult. So I never see myself as that leading person ever. I always look at the character pieces. I love the character parts. The parts you want. And, you know, to play I always get given the insane people. I don't know why.
I got to play, I was very lucky. I got to play Cosmo in a pro company of Singing in the Rain. And I loved it. Massive character role, loved it. I then got to play Dom as well. And it is the most boring part ever. Great to dance the Singing in the Rain and the dance and everything. But do you know what? Wet as. I'm like, no. And I started getting cast as all these kind of ingenue, princey roles. And I was going for the character and they're like, could we see you as this? And I'm like, I don't want to play that. I want to play, you know, I want to play the geeky. I would rather play LeFou than play Gaston.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I at the moment there's I kind of started doing covers from Beetlejuice the musical, and it's amazing. It's amazing now because the leading. Watch the video. It's fine. But no, it's one of those things where the leading man in that show is the character part, which I love because it's actually it just switches it up a little bit.
It's been happening on Broadway a lot lately. Even Shrek, he's a character actor.
Yep.
You know, as much as he's in the green suit, you've got to be funny. You've got to be everything.
I don't think in that show there's actually a part for a good-looking leading man because even Lord Farquaad is a character piece.
Something. Yeah, absolutely. I think the only person probably is Peter Pan.
He makes very, very rare appearance.
Yeah.
or the magic mirror.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think character acting for me is a massive thing, and looking at the characters and humanizing them as well is making sure that they are three-dimensional characters when you're doing especially when you're doing a comedy song. Like, if you're doing a comedy song, it can't all be like, da. That's not how it works. Like, let's take Adelaide's Lament, for example, from Guys and Dolls. The song is, a person could develop a cold. Well, she's not happy about that.
Yeah.
The humor comes from the truth, you know? So it's looking at it that way. On the other side, is if you are doing a sad song, please find the joy in that. Yeah. If you're singing about a loved one who died, you loved that person at some point. Which means usually in the lyrics there are moments where you smile and it's light and everything isn't You should never ask the audience to cry. That's what I tell. That's what I tell my students. Yeah, if the audience doesn't want to cry, they don't have to. But if you push them to, they'll fall back because they'll feel uncomfortable.
Did you ever see The Drowsy Chaperone?
That was the very first show. Do you know, it's so weird. Can I just say, we have spoken before, but all the things that you've asked me at Acorn Antiques, my favourite musical. But you've now just asked me about Drowsy Chaperone, which is hilarious because that was the first Broadway show I ever saw with Sutton Foster.
So I was working at Novello when that was on.
Oh, so you saw Summer.
So I saw Summer, but I also got to see the guy. Obviously, the guy starring it was the guy that wrote it.
Yes.
And we all went out to if you ever go to Players Bar in London, you ever been to Players?
Yes.
We all went down there after the show one night, and it was everyone. So someone was there. Everyone was there, and we were just chatting. He was talking about how it was a wedding gift to him and his partner. Yeah. The whole show was a wedding gift, but he was so lovely. But the reason I come to that show is, and there's a show in it which would usually be is it the 12 o'clock number, which is where I can't remember the time of night it is, but it's that big ballad number that comes within the show.
Where you mean the monkey on a pedestal?
Yeah, and you come to it. It's written as this lamenting sort of love song, and
it's a ballad. It's a full-on lamenting. Yeah,
the lyrics are so the opposite of that, and it gets laughs, but you also believe everything that she's singing about.
Why is it that it gets the laughs? It's because she's believing,
and she means it, and she's so serious about what she's singing. What she's singing is ridiculous.
Whereas I can imagine that when you're rehearsing or you're doing it, it's very hard to know if it's going to be funny. And when you're doing comedy and you're in rehearsals, you have to trust. And all you have to do is play the truth. It's that whole thing of, if the audience want to laugh, they're going to laugh. Don't try and make them laugh. Especially in musical theatre, if you try and make them laugh, they will resent you for that. You allow them to laugh, then they're happy.
It's situational comedy, isn't it? You're laughing at the situation they're in, not the actual person themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, going back to Victoria Wood, look at Dinner Ladies. It's hilarious. There isn't one joke in that show. No. It's all through truth.
It's kind of the office situation. The Office is also the same sort of thing, where it's played straight.
Absolutely. I think it's not. I don't know because I can't say, but I don't know if it's taught enough in musical theatre colleges about comedy and what comedy is. It's great to be able to sing those high notes. It's great to be able to belt all the way up to there. But you know what? People remember the character. They remember what they felt from that character more so than if someone's going, ah!
Well, Drowsy Chaperone, the main character, is obviously the narrator. For those people that don't know what Drowsy Chaperone is, it's a one-act musical play about a man listening to a record in his apartment of his favourite Broadway show. But should I do a spoilers? It's been out long enough. We'll do a spoilers. He doesn't actually sing throughout the entire show until the last part of the show, and you realise that he's never actually seen the show.
Songs. He sometimes sings with the songs because he's like, "Oh, this is my favourite bit."
Yeah, I love the arms. Yeah, but that's exactly what he does. But the thing is,
I've seen it enough.
It's one of these things where you realise that he's never actually seen the show, and everything you've seen on stage is kind of what he's made up in his own head, and it's quite depressing because you realise that he's fixated on this thing that he never actually had. It's quite heartbreaking, but it's also really funny leading up to that point. So he plays the duality of that really, really well. It's a very
work is if the truth is played. If he tried to play it that I'm alone and I'm not, you can laugh, it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work at all. And I think that's something that if there are younger actors out there, start working on that at a young age. You know, don't think that you have to be older to be a character actor. There's so many character roles out there. I mean, look at Elder Cunningham. For example.
Josh Gad.
Josh Gad. At the end of the day, very, very funny. But all the lines he says are not like, I always say, I don't want to see like a ba-ba kind of laugh. You know,
he means everything he says.
It's his naivety that gets the laugh. It's, you know, stupidity that gets the laugh. It's not him trying to be funny. If you go and see the show, it's never him trying to be funny, ever. You know, it's the same with Olaf as well, I guess, in Frozen.
He's based on naivety.
Yeah, he's based on not knowing. And that's also another thing as well, is one thing I get onto is, does this person know? Are they a knowing person or are they an unknowing person? You know, are they discovering? Is it a revelation song? And that means that you can't get to the end until the end. You can't start the song at the end. And a lot of people try and think that they have to do that because they think that I must come in with a really strong opening. It's like, no. Let the audience breathe into it. Let them understand what's happening. Unless it's a song that does start like this. And it starts with angst and it starts with anger. You know, it's all about your heartbeat, really, singing.
Yeah. It's also, you know, the character in the show doesn't actually know where their character is going. So you have to build it somewhere.
Yeah. So you can see that I'm very passionate about directing, and I mean, this is, for me, it truly is my passion. As much as I love performing, don't get me wrong, I get more thrill out of seeing other people thrive and other people succeed than I do about any accolation on stage whatsoever. If anything, I discrave that and crave watching people just thrive and improve.
Seeing something form around you.
Yeah. And I see that every single time I've done these acting through song sessions, from the moment they started to the moment they finish, it is a massive journey.
So how do people find these acting through songs lessons? Let's see if we can get some people over to you, because as you can see,
like I said, if you go onto my website, www.pndheadshots.net, on there is a acting through song link that you can click on and send me an inquiry. We'll get a few dates. I'm doing them Monday to Friday, 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
And the first session is free, isn't it?
The first session is free, so why not?
Why not? Exactly.
And I also think we're in lockdown right now, so this is the time to work on your craft. This is the time to get it wrong, and that's also okay as well. I think that's something that we should really hammer in is, am I allowed to, I'm not allowed to swear on here, am I?
Yeah, you're fine.
Am I? Okay. You're allowed to fuck up. You are allowed to fuck up. That's what rehearsals are for. Some people think I have to be show ready from day one of rehearsals. I hate that, because how can you be show ready? Where have you got to go to? Where is it there? If you're not trying things and you're not pushing yourself, then you can't improve. You can't find new things at all.
Absolutely. You have to get build to something.
Yeah, absolutely. And messing up is the way to do it. Make mistakes. You can only learn. I'm sure it's the same as when you're singing. Sometimes you find you're like, and it's like, oh, that didn't happen. That's not there.
Watch any of my videos.
but it happens. Also, those high notes as well are the reason for musical theatre, and these massive high notes. Let's take Wicked, for example.
Yeah.
Why is she singing all these high notes? Because it's a revelation. It's coming from emotion. It's not just because I'm going to sing a top A or I'm going to sing a top B.
There's a reason for it.
There's a reason for it out there in Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know, there's a reason. It's because it's trying to reach for something. And the moment you put a purpose, the moment you put an emotion to that note, is the moment that note will come out perfectly. And why? Because you stop thinking.
And also, imperfection is not a bad thing. Imperfection shows the human side of the character. So if you can't hold that note for as long as you usually would, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, going back to Sheridan Smith, if you've seen her in Funny Girl, yeah, she can sing, don't get me wrong. But you know what she can do? She can act. My God, at the end of that show, when she sings Don't Rain on My Parade with Freeze, she just gives it all. Christina Bianco just did it in Paris. And if you watch the end of that, the vocal is stunning and it's there. And she's acting right through it as well. You know, it's just incredible. And those two are totally different. Watch any Don't Rain on My Parade from professional people, you'll never see the same one.
No.
You'll never see the same one. And that's because they're making it their own. I think that's...
and they all have their own take on the character.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some may find her to be... They want to play her a bit cocky. Some want to play her naive. You decide. You know, the writer... If the writer has written a character analysis for the character, read it. But what you then have to do is you have to come up with the backstory. You have to think about what happened before. I did Seussical in 2016. I directed. I don't know if you know the show Seussical.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat.
Yeah. And the character Horton, big film, Horton Hears a Who, people know him. The kid who was playing Horton was 14 years old, and I asked him to come up with a backstory, and he came back to me, and it was brilliant. And I went, "Tell me about Horton." Tell me who's Horton. He goes, "Well, Horton is he's 16 years old, and his parents tragically died when he was born." And I went, "Oh, okay, right." Great. And then he was like, so the reason why he doesn't know how to be an elephant is because they were the only two elephants in the jungle. So he never learned how to walk like an elephant, talk like an elephant. So he always felt like an outsider. He didn't understand where he belonged. Now, when he then came to sing Alone in the Universe, it took on a completely different meaning. It worked.
Yeah,
it worked so well. And this he's 14. Like, and that's the thing is that don't lose your imagination. That's what I'll say. Use it. Use it. Write down a backstory. It does really help. I did Oliver. The Fagin came up with a backstory of we wanted to delve into who Bill Sykes was. And the guy who was playing Fagin came up with, so Bill Sykes is actually the prototype Dodger, and Fagin's been trying to get it right ever since. Weird, right?
Yeah, we can see where you go with that. Yeah.
Well, it was amazing. It's very clever to do that, and it's almost like how many Dodgers has there been before Dodger? You know,
and how many turned out like Bill?
And how many turned out like Bill? Absolutely. Where was he getting it wrong? Where was he getting it wrong? Because there's got to be some reason why Bill is always still around. What affiliation does Bill have with Fagin? And we think that, and he said, I think he's the first person he took in. He was the one. So he's the prototype Dodger. And brilliant. To come up with that kind of thing for a director is to then take what he took. He gave me something incredible. I then got to play on that throughout the whole show.
Absolutely,
it was just brilliant. It was brilliant.
It's a good take.
Yeah, I think looking into those characters, musical theatre is about looking into the characters, looking into their lives. You know, it's very different to singing a song. That's what I say. It's not just about, there is room in the world for that. There's room in the world for pop and for lovely singing and, you know, hearing a beautiful sound. Musical theatre for me isn't that, but that's my take.
No, I
Other people, you know, that's only my opinion. And I never think that I know everything because I'm always learning from everybody. You know, if you look at Six, that's a completely different kettle of fish.
That's a weird
but
show.
amazing. But again, but it does come in truth. Like there's some beautiful moments. There's some beautiful songs in there that are so truthful, you know. And if they were just sung prettily and like a pop song, I don't think they would work. So
No.
there still is acting through song. There is still a past to that person, because that's the thing. Is I think with characters, people don't think about the fact that they have been born, they have had a life before you get to that character, before you get to that time of that character. Yeah, I hope I haven't waffled on too much about character.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's an important part to put out there. I always seem to ask the same question, which is, what advice can you give to people trying to break into performance? But I think you've done it. I think you've given the best sort of advice you could possibly give there.
I think if you want to get into this profession, if I can give any advice, because it is a hard profession, an amazing profession, but a hard profession, is if you wake up every morning and you think about theatre and you think about what do I want to do, what do I want to improve on, then you're supposed to be in theatre. If you're not 100% in this game, if you're not 100% into it, find something else. Do it as a hobby, enjoy it, but do something else. Because there are so many youngsters out there that are hungry, are very hungry, and there's still adults out there that are still hungry for the job and stuff, you know. And personally, I think you might not be happy in this profession. It's not for everyone.
It's a battle.
It is a battle. It's a battle, but it's also, it's about you. It's about being an individual. What is it that you bring to the table? If I can give any advice to anyone who does want to do this, find out, what do you bring? Like, are you a comedy actor? Are you more of a vocalist? Okay, if you're a vocalist, then you need to work on your acting. If you're an actor, you need to work on your vocals. Work on your weaknesses rather than always working on your strengths. I think that's a really important thing for young actors.
It's perfect. Perfect way to do it. Right, thank you. So I'm going to let you go because I always said to you it'll be about half an hour. We've now gone to about 50 minutes. I appreciate it so much. I can chat for England. No, it's amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And you're going to put the link below for...
I'll put the link for your website below. Go over and talk to Paul. He will take you to the next level and really help you out with your songs you're trying to sing.
Maybe you should come back. We should do one with you so people can see how I work.
I'd love that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
that'd be incredible. We'll do that, and I'll let people know when it's going to happen. They can see me completely fuck up.
You know what? It is
fuck up and grow.
It's the most endearing thing to see. Honestly, it really is. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you so much. And thank you for people who are watching today. I'll be putting out another video tomorrow. We didn't put out a video yesterday because it was Blackout Tuesday. And on the rest of the week, it's a video a day every day. If you're new to the channel, then subscribe. Head over to Paul's socials, which again I'll put in the description below, and give him some love there as well. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers.
See you later, guys. Bye.